It should really be no surprise to any of my subscribers when I say that Shidou Ryusei is one of, if not my favorite characters in the Blue Lock series to date. The way he plays and his design is just amazing to look at and leaves me very entertained and keeps me intrigued in any arc or game he's playing in. In this video, I'll be going over Shidou's playstyle, personality, and ego, as well as my predictions for what his role will be in the future of the series. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you to like the video and subscribe to my channel, since I have more Blue Lock content and I'll be making more in the future. To start off with Shidou's personality, he's first introduced in chapter 88, where he's shown literally trying to crush the head of Igaguri, his 2v2 match teammate. After that, he tries to axe kick Igaguri, but is stopped by Kunigami, and this starts a kind of duality between Kunigami and Shido, since Shido is known as the devil of Blue Lock, or like the demon kind of, and Kunigami is known as the hero with his immense physical capabilities and whatnot. They begin fighting for a little bit, and then Shido challenges him to a match. Kunigami declines at first, but then Ryo comes in and explains that he has Igaguri as a teammate, and he's kind of a lost cause, so it'll be very unlikely that they'll lose. And with that being said, having someone like Shido on the team, who they know is the top scorer of another wing of Blue Lock, would be very useful. The game begins and Shido starts off automatically offensively, going after Ryo and forcing him to pass to Kunigami, who he then teams up with Igaguri to take the ball from. Igaguri, being Igaguri, forces a yellow card on Ryo and forces a kick in to Shido. We're then shown a little insight on Shido's analytical abilities, where he's able to discern both Kunigami and Ryo's abilities just by seeing them play one time, and he's also able to overcome Kunigami in a physical press, and Kunigami even says that he can't even find a weakness. Shido passes it to Igaguri and rushes to the goal, and Igaguri tries to pass it back to him, but it's deflected by Ryo, but Shido makes an impossible bicycle kick, scoring the first goal of the game. We don't get to see the rest of that game, but the next time we see Shido is at the end of the second exam selection, where he's shown to be the last person to pass when everyone else was expecting Kunigami. He tells Isagi that he sent Kunigami straight to hell and starts talking bad about him, which obviously infuriates Isagi, and he immediately tries to attack Isagi, but he's saved by Chigiri. This loss ultimately would lead Kunigami to evolving heavily, but that's a video for another day. And back to Shido, we see that he's ranked number 2 in the Blue Lock facility, right after Rin Itoshi, and it's revealed that in his match against the World 5, he and Rin were the only people that were able to score a goal. And this is even more interesting since we know that nobody on the field or nobody in Blue Lock can have a chemical reaction or be compatible with Shido. So it means he did this all on his individual abilities, which is quite insane. Moving on to the first match of the third selection. Now this match is where we see Shido's insane spatial awareness and his ability to see the goal even when his back is turned to it. In this match, Isagi tries to anticipate Shido's movements, assuming that he can't see the goal from where he is since his back is turned to it, because no one really can from that position. But Shido having this ability to see the goal no matter what position he's in allows him to make an insane inverse shot, surprising everyone on the field without even looking. Later in this match, however, begins the rivalry and mutual hatred between Rin Itoshi and Shidou Ryusei. While on offense, Hiyori sends a pass towards Rin and Shido, which leads to them both colliding with each other and leaving the ball loose, which ultimately leads to the opposing team getting the loose ball and getting a counter goal. After this, they immediately begin yelling at each other, and Isagi, instead of seeing this as a loss, sees this as a piece that he can use to win the match. Isagi believes that as it stands now, they can't really coexist on the same team in the same field, but if he can make Rin and Shido work together with his playmaking, then the game will basically be over for them and they'll win, and that's how he'll show his own worth to Blue Lock. Isagi, after receiving a pass from Nanase, runs towards the goal and encounters Shido, who's open for a pass. Before passing to Shido, he expects Shido to pass it to Rin, but instead Shido shoots it from an insane angle and makes a drive shot, completely destroying Isagi's prediction for a chemical reaction. After seeing this goal, Isagi says that someone like Shido is basically unrivaled inside the penalty area, and he was kind of foolish for hoping to see a pass from someone like him at the place that he was. And this is something I don't even disagree with. Shido in the penalty area is quite insane, and he can even make some insane shots outside of the penalty area, which I'll get to later. Moving on to later in this game, Rin and Shido are having a duel to see who can get to the pass that Hiyori sent first, but neither of them anticipated that someone from a whole nother world was able to get to it before them, that being Flow State Isagi Oichi. This Isagi was able to break through both Shido and Rin at the same time and score an amazing goal past both the first and second best strikers in the Blue Lock facility at the time. And Ego says that he's entered the realm where miracles are able to occur, allowing him to surpass both Shido and Rin. And that goal seals the match and seals the win for Isagi and Shido's team. But right after this match, Rin goes over to Isagi and tells him that that goal was basically a fluke and he stole it from Rin. Shido opposes to this and says that Isagi, at least for that play, was the #1 player, and they immediately begin fighting once again, but they're told to stop any further violence or it will constitute a disqualification. Moving on to the 5th match in chapter 107, we see that the same thing is happening with Rin and Shido, where they're both going for the ball in order to score a goal, and basically fighting each other. Rin ends up being the one to score the goal, and Shido immediately begins trying to fight him once again, and to put him down he has to be electrocuted by Ego. This is just another showing of Ryusei's insane ego, and a little after this we're shown that he's actually not chosen for the team to face off in the U20 match because of this ego. Jinpachi Ego explains this as, although his skills are only second to Rinitoshi, all of his goals were made by his own individual skills, and he couldn't make a chemical reaction with Rinitoshi or anyone else on Blue Lock. So no one on Blue Lock or in the Blue Lock facility can handle the egoist known as Shidou Ryusei. However, just because no one in Blue Lock can control his ego, doesn't mean no one in Japan can. And the person who's actually able to control his ego in Japan just happens to be Rinitoshi's brother, Seitoshi. Seitoshi, after accepting to join the Japan U20 team to face off against Blue Lock, was given the option to choose one person from Blue Lock or in Japan as a whole to play with him and the U20 team, and he happened to choose Shidou Ryusei. We'll get into the meaning of all that later on, but for now, let's go into the U20 introduction. The U20 vs Blue Lock arena is where the stakes are the highest. Fans are cheering, seats are full, and if Blue Lock loses this match, the Blue Lock facility will be disbanded, and Ego Jinpachi will be exiled from the world of soccer forever. This match is truly amazing, but I'll only be going over Shidou's parts for this video, and he's not actually introduced in the match until the second half, where he's sent out by request of Oliver Aiku. Before even beginning playing soccer, Shido was shown inside of the arena, basically bathing in the match's popularity. But when he sees Rinitoshi, he tells him that this match will decide who's really the #1. And even Ego Jinpachi says that this is where the match really begins. Beginning the match, we see that Shidou's ego is already at full blast. The way that Nico describes it is that it's not even a 11 vs 11. To Ryusei Shido, it's a 1 vs 21. He's trying to destroy the entire field all on his own. After him and his team move all the way up the field, Sei passes the ball to Shido, who's inside of the penalty area, in an outside spin cross pass. And Shido would have made the goal if not for an interruption by Nico, resulting in his yellow card. This obviously results in a free kick, and Shido initially wants to take the kick, since Rin is blocking off Sei's preferred shot path. But ultimately they end up agreeing to Shido starting off with a fake kick, and ending up taking a pass from Sei, inside of the penalty area. Chigiri's the first one to realize this, but when he does, it's already too late, as the pass has already been made, and he can't reach it in time. But Shido's able to accept the pass, and kick it in with the drag and drive goal. After this goal, it's explained by Isagi that both of these players are playing by reflex alone, and that's why they're able to make these reflex times reflex goals, and devour the Blue Lock team with their chemical reaction. After this, the game plays as normal, with Shido almost accepting a pass from Seitoshi, but it being denied by Ryo, who had copied Aiku's defensive abilities by 99%. But even after this pass was denied, he tells Sei that it was a nice pass, and playing with him is crazy fun. He goes on to say that while playing with Sei, he finally feels like someone understands his freedom, Big Bang, or an awakening coming. This freedom is why no one on the Blue Lock team can really accept him or take his ego, since someone like Isagi, even after seeing him play, tries to control him in order to get a chemical reaction with Rinitoshi, and Rin being someone that always wants to be the center of attention and the best striker on the team. But an amazing midfielder like Sei that can basically make any pass gives Shido the freedom that he needs to make any plays that he wants to, and fully awaken himself, which is what he does in the upcoming goal. After this, Shido keeps on sharpening himself in the midst of the match, and is able to break through Blue Lock's formation, and is left with one-on-one with Gagamaru, who ends up hitting the ball with a header. But this isn't really the end for Shido, as he sees the sensation for a goal, and is able to feel the goal with his back, and dives into the air and explodes with a Big Bang drive, scoring this insane goal that could never be replicated. Now this goal in his awakening is akin to one of Zlatan's goals that I'll put on the screen if I can find it. And this isn't even a crazy stretch either, since in the Egoist Bible, which is basically a Blue Lock data book, they say that Zlatan is Shido's favorite player. The reason that Shido is even able to do all this is because of the freedom that I mentioned before that Seitoshi is giving him. The passes that he gives Shido work as challenges for Shido, and Shido being able to overcome these challenges allow him to evolve and create amazing ultra goals, as Isagi says it. And Isagi even says that this is something that he wanted to do but Sei is able to do it with ease and swallow the match with their chemical reaction. And Rin even goes as far as saying that the ones that change soccer for Japan won't be Blue Lock, but it'll be Shido and Sei. After this, the Blue Lock team is forced to sub in their wild card Shohei Baro in order to offset the chemistry that Shido and Sei have, which does end up working later in Baro's amazing Devour shot. But moving to before that, we see that Shido on offense is matched up with Ryo Mikage, and he ends up slipping behind Ryo with his pure physical abilities, in which Ryo says that he can't even copy something like this since it's just pure talent basically, and he ends up getting overtaken. Seiyutoshi then passes the ball, and Ryo is able to keep up with Shido, but ends up ultimately losing the matchup since Ryo takes an amazing shot that completely trips up Gagamaru, and he would have made the shot if not for Gagamaru's insanely built body, which allowed him to block the shot by doing a handstand and sticking out his leg. That's basically all he does in the U20 match, and although the U20 team did end up losing, Shido did not fail to show his amazing talent and abilities in conjunction with the talented midfielder Seiyutoshi. Currently in the Neo Egoist arc of the manga, Shido went to the Paris X-Gen France team, led by the talented Loki. That's basically all we have for Shido of the current manga, and from these showings alone, he's quite the amazing player. He's able to playmate with people like Seiyutoshi and make insane goals that no one could even dream of, like the inverse shot or the Big Bang drive, and he even makes some amazing goals outside of his flow state. But that's really all I have for today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and also comment some topics you'd like me to go over in the future down below. Goodbye.